So at the time that I'm recording this, Meccha Chameleon has really got the internet getting creative together. I mean, it's a multiplayer game of not only hide and seek, but also requires those hiders to camouflage by literally painting themselves into the world. It's honestly a pretty great concept, and it has truly inspired some creative moments. But there's one problem. It's multiplayer only. So let's attempt to take the spirit of Meccha Chameleon and try to make a single player version. The player begins on this screen. Here they are given a source image, their designated draw area, and the potential for a mask. And in terms of Meccha Chameleon, you can think of them like this. The source image is the map, the draw area is the location that the player is hiding, and the mask is the pose that the player has chosen. And once a player has chosen what part of the image that they would like to paint, it's time to get to painting. Now bear with me here because the screen is clearly a bit cluttered. So first, let's check out these floating windows. The upper left window is the player's tools. They've got a brush tool, a fill tool, a dropper, and a clear button. The brush and fill tools act pretty similarly to like Microsoft Paint. The brush size can be changed with the mouse wheel, and right-clicking will instead erase paint from the player's canvas. Similarly, the fill tool will fill any colored or empty space with a single color, or remove it with right-click. The clear button will literally clear all paint from the player's canvas, and the dropper tool is the color clone tool. Now, the point of this game is to try matching the original image, including colors, in the given amount of time. And to the top right is how well that the player must do to win. You can kind of think of it like how sweaty / try hard the other players are in an actual game of Meccha Chameleon. And so yeah, it kind of would be weird to have a color clone tool in this game, right? Well, this clone tool only allows the player to clone their own paint canvas. If the player tries to clone an area with no paint, it'll simply default to black. Now, speaking of colors, the bottom left is our color picker. Again, pretty standard behavior for a color picker. Click the color wheel or use the sliders to find that perfect color to paint with. And I'll admit right now that this thing is buggy. Mostly because of the way that I decided to code these windows, but also because there was a lot of math involved, and if you're new here, yeah, math ain't my strong suit. But bugginess aside, it gets the job done, and it can in fact be used to achieve a 100%. But anyway, the other two windows on the right are previews for both the original image and the player's canvas in full. All these windows can also be moved around, by the way, and placed anywhere that the player would like. They can also be reset to their default positions by clicking the little black boxes at the top right. And in the case of the preview windows, they can be resized just in case the player needs a better look or wants to minimize the screen clutter. Windows can also be toggled on and off, as well as this mildly transparent overlay, for clarity purposes. Now, I do have thoughts on these windows, but for now, let's check out the rest of the play area. This thing was originally meant to zoom in and out, but again, because I'm bad at math, I couldn't get it working properly. Luckily, the player can still pan around the canvas with left click and dragging while holding spacebar. Otherwise, left clicking will use their currently selected tool. Now again, the point of this is to try to recreate the original painting as close as possible, in the given amount of time, which by the way, time is extended based on the size of the canvas. So the game gives extra time to larger canvases, but always gives a base of 3 minutes per round. And once that timer runs out, it's judging time. And this is where we get to get a bit technical. Now recently, I made a game inspired by Splatoon where I take the paint splatter generated during the match and have the game read the color percentages to figure out who got the most paint coverage. We're using the same exact tech here, so if you would like a better breakdown of how this works, a link to that video can be found in the description. But basically, we convert both the player's canvas and the original image into pure, raw data. We then do some technical magic and use a bit of math to use that data to match each pixel and get the difference between the two. We then add those points together and calculate the percentage out of 100 points. If those points are greater than or equal to the points goal set, aka the CPU's sweaty percentage level, then the player wins. Else, they lose. From there, the player can then retry, and the game will re-roll everything for the player to, continue painting to their heart's content. And that was the game. Now, obviously, it's not a direct one-to-one translation of Meccha Chameleon. Rather, I tried my best at least to distill the essence of the experience down to its basics and make something that, kind of tries to encourage the same set of skills. Though customization would definitely be a way to give the player more agency, if this was a more serious project. And while on the subject of talking about things that I would change, those windows, man. At first, the windows were a cool little personal challenge, but you know, they're kind of bulky, buggy, and inefficient. Simply having all that data like slapped to an edge of the screen likely would have been the better call. But those are just some of my thoughts. I'm really more interested to know what you think. Would you say that this is a fair translation of the Meccha Chameleon experience? And if not, how would you approach the single-player version? Be sure to share your thoughts and ideas in the comments. While you're at it, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. If you enjoy the content and would like to help me keep making it, you can support me on Patreon. And finally, why not subscribe if you're new to the channel? With that said, this has been Dev Diary, the series where I try to make my own video games. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.